Yeah. That was so embarrassing. Holy shit. Hi, welcome. This is not gonna be a how-to or anything. It's just gonna show you what. This isn't a how-to or anything. I'm just gonna paint, and you're just gonna see how I do it, I guess. So, I guess without further ado, oh, this is so weird.
Fuck! It's hot as fuck in here.
I don't have a Stanley. I see what you people do with them, and I'm just not about it. So it's the next day. I did a grid off cam because gridding is probably the most boring like steps of painting. It's just measuring in lines. We don't really care. We're gonna start off sketching. Oh, I didn't even say who we're painting today. We're painting the famous basketball player Joe Bryant. If you don't know who Joe is a local basketball player. He went to Norfolk State. It's pretty popular. So there's a lot that I didn't say during that recording because I am very camera shy and I get really nervous in front of the camera, so I don't really end up saying too much. But Joe is actually really talented, and I suggest that you just take a look at him and study him because he is Norfolk greatness. He's really good. And fun fact, me and him went to high school together, but I didn't know. I didn't even know until like I met him in his like senior year at Norfolk State, and I was like, oh
brother. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you we don't care.
We're gonna start off with some good old undersketching. So to start off, as I said before, I use the gridding method to help with damn near all of my paintings because gridding is like the most important part of my art process, given the fact that it's to help map out what your painting is going to look like. So when I grid, I usually go by number or by letter, or usually both. And you probably can't see it, but they're all labeled on the corners of each square to let me know what part I'm working on currently. But as you can see in this time lapse, I'm just kind of sketching out the outside parts of Joe's body, and it looks pretty funky, but it's literally just to help map out what needs to be where. And you can see on the reference photo that like I said, I'm going by square and just the outline of his body, so I do not start detailing till later on. But yeah, I'm not gonna ramble anymore, you could just watch. So here you can see this is where I'm starting to make corrections and understand more about what Joe's body is going to look like. And like I said, it's just the sketching, so I don't want to be perfect, but this is around the time that I kind of need to be. So I'm erasing some parts that look a bit too narrow and some parts that look a bit too wide. Sketching the rest of his body, just making some corrections here. And here you're gonna see how it looks like compared to the Photoshop edit I did, and I was getting there. So during my paint process, I realized that sometimes I get a little into my paintings, a little too much. So I usually like to take a little breaksy break, so kind of get the load off.
Nigga, I don't give a fuck. Even if you think I should, bitch. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. Even if my credit's bad, still don't give no fucks. The fuck you mean you don't take cash? Nigga, really don't give.
So anyways, after my little breaky break is done, as you can see, I kind of went back over the sketch to do some more corrections, but as you can see right now, I am putting burnt sienna over the canvas, and why I'm doing that is to tone the canvas. Toning the canvas is basically kind of creating a base tone for the painting so you could judge colors better, but also set a temperature for the painting. So here's where I show the paint that I use. I love using Soho. Soho is a really great paint for me because it's not too thick and it's not too thin. It's literally just right because I like to stack layers with my painting. So I'm also using a glazing gloss liquid just to thin it out a bit more so I can blend a bit better. You're gonna see artists that like using water to blend, but I do that sometimes, but not too often. So with these next couple of clips, I didn't get too much of a detailed look of me painting the portrait, so you're just gonna see a lot of aesthetic shots. But here's one that I did get of me painting his jersey, just like the under part of it, starting off with like a thin green. Like I said, Soho, you're a real one. And yeah, basically just using a thin green to just start the base of the jersey so I understand like what the color, of course it's NSU so it's gonna be green, but you know, just having the base color there so I know what I'm looking at. And here's another compare to the canvas and the source material that I made, and as you can see, I did a pretty good job. I was doing a good job at keeping the shape and the color right enough for what I have started. And I just felt like I had a good footing in this terrible race we call art. So bow, there it is. I just be painting. So here's some more aesthetic clips of me just working on the painting and the skin tones. It's just me. It's just me. This is the part where y'all gonna get mad at me, like so mad. I barely recorded the rest of my process, but here's why. I think I said this before. Once I start painting, that's it. That done deal. I do not worry about my surroundings or what else I'm doing. Soon as I get an idea, I just get to work. And y'all really can't blame me. I mean, look at the detail. I was going in and I just needed the focus. However, I will show you pics of the process. I'm sorry. So you're gonna see me work on rendering Joe's face with blending the shadows and the highlights in, and as you can see, his face got smoother. That's the sky. I gotta say the gradient was the hardest part because I'm not really good with doing them, but I ended up working really hard on it and it came out pretty good. Yeah. If you know my paintings, you know that I'm a really big fan of the sky, and it's basically my motif in damn near all of my paintings, so I put so much detail into the background. But I always had issues with rendering clouds, but I did find a good method. I restarted the clouds and I used a more similar tone to the background. In most pictures, or if you just go outside and look at a cloud, you're gonna see that the only color that they have will be reflected based on the current color of the sky. So I tried to match that up. And as you can see, that method started methoding. All right, like, come on now, don't play with me. With me putting the darker tones of the cloud in the back, once it dried, I went over with a white and started rendering the clouds. So that was my lovely process. And I love the way that the clouds came out. I usually have a pretty hard time painting them, so this time I feel more confident in the future of painting clouds. But yeah, this was around like my last stages of the painting. I fully rendered Joe and his sleeve and basically his entire fit. So I was done with him and I was ready to start on the flowers I put around him. And I ended up putting bluebell and hyacinth around him to represent specific tributes that I feel like a lot of people associate with him. Bluebells representing gratitude and humility. And with hyacinths, they represent a lot, but the biggest connections that I made with them when it comes to Joe is sporty attitudes. That's one of the attributes that I saw with hyacinth, but also blue hyacinths represent constancy. So, shit. So here it is, everybody, the NSU Sports Series. That's loud. I know this video was about Joe, but Joe was a part of a 3-part series of friends that I have that play these specific sports, and also kind of giving a shout out to the siblings that did play these sports. I love my blood. I was inspired by my professor. We were having a conversation about it in one of his classes, and after one of his classes, and funny enough, Jawan was there, and I was like, yo, I'm feeling the school spirit. I think it may be time to put in the work. And, Jawan basically held me at gunpoint and was like, ain't gonna lie to gang shit. So, I didn't have, I couldn't do too much after that. So yeah, it was pretty good experience. I want to thank the 3 boys, the men, excuse me, that let me paint them. Jawan, Joe, and Donnie. Do you guys have anything that you would like to say?
I beg your pardon?
They're going through some things. I hear it a lot. If there's anything I learned, that I got range. They all look so different, but yet, like, you could tell they're supposed to be together. So, yeah. Also, before I end this, I must apologize for the way that I look right now. Looking really ill. And to that, I must say that, as an artist, if you don't look like you're dying in the inside, are you really an artist?